Okay, listen. So after a long day of doing absolutely nothing, my dad came up to me and said,
Son, it's been weeks since your last Jojo video. You need to make a new one and support this family.
and I said,
Dad, last time you used all my money to buy a Kakyoin portrait. You're not exactly very responsible with my money. Oh, that's right. I don't have a dad.
So that's what I'm doing today. The Jojo community has created a massive amount of great fan theories over the years, so I wanted to compile a bunch of them into this video and rank their likelihood on a 5-star rating system. Just a disclaimer, just because I rated a 1 star doesn't mean I think the theory sucks. I'm only considering how likely the theory is in the context of the story. Anyways, all the theories will be linked in the description, so let's get started. MIKITAKA an alien. MIKITAKA is by far one of the most mysterious characters in JoJo. Not only do they dress like a weirdo, but they seemingly have stand abilities without the use of a stand arrow. The strangest thing about this character is that they claim to be an extraterrestrial from space, one who's come to observe humanity. Of course, characters within the series don't take him seriously at all, and dismiss him as a typical weird kid in class. But a fan theory plays around the idea that MIKITAKA really is an alien from space. The evidence? Well, for one, he somehow has the power to turn into anything, but seemingly can't see stands. You never see a stand in any capacity, and it's never named either. Perhaps he's from a planet where the alien species can naturally shapeshift. I can actually buy the idea that MIKITAKA is an actual alien, as there's probably a reason Araki leaves his character ambiguous. Now, if I saw a guy looking like this, I'd do nothing, because judging people based on their looks is not cool. I give this theory 2 stars. The world copied the stands of all living Joestars. This theory states that Dio doesn't really have one stand, but the stand of all the Joestars that were alive at the time. A big clue to this possibility is the fact that Dio was shown using Hermit Purple in an earlier scene. If true, then that possibly means Dio has access to whatever Holly's stand might have been in Crazy Diamond. I'd assume he chose not to use them either because he thought the world was much better, or because the stands of both users never fully manifested. I wonder what Dio would have named his version of Crazy Diamond. Probably something like, I wish we could turn back time to the good old days. Although that name doesn't really have a ring to it. This is a great theory that actually has solid basis in the series. I give this theory 4 stars. Jonathan Joestar is Star Platinum. It's pretty self-explanatory. Jonathan came back to life as a spirit in the form of Star Platinum in order to stop Dio and has lashed himself onto Jotaro. The evidence for this includes a statement Jonathan made to Dio, claiming that if he died, he'd come back to life as a spirit and haunt Dio. And I guess one of those conditions were met. It's been established that when your soul leaves your body, it's possible for that same soul to return back to the living world. Jonathan and Star Platinum both have a similar color scheme, they both have similar looking gloves, and both have the same overall build. And finally, they both have a barrage. I'm gonna be honest, this theory has pretty shaky evidence to go off of. A lot of it was purely coincidental and kinda doesn't make any sense. Like Star Platinum and Jonathan don't even look alike, and there's no examples of something like this happening in the series before. I give this theory 1 star. Now these next batch of theories comes from the YouTube channels Meta's Shonen Division, and I'm not gonna pronounce that name. Anyways, their full videos are linked in the description. The stand gene theory. If the will of the Joestars can be passed down, and the stands are linked to the will of the individual, then that means the stand should be able to get passed down as well. When a Joestar inherits the will of a family member, aspects of their associated stand will be mixed with the user's own stand, which creates some similarities. Here are some examples. Gold Experience inherited the overall color scheme and Buddha's stand cry of Dio. Since Dio's technically Jonathan, that would mean that Jotaro would inherit Dio's stand ability. Jonathan's aptitude with life energy would be inherited by Giorno, which would result in a life energy aspect of Gold Experience. The stand gene theory has some solid evidence, and although it kinda falls apart when you get further down the Joestar family tree, I give the theory overall 3 stars. Black Sabbath is a Requiem stand. Black Sabbath is a stand belonging to a prominent member of the Italian mob. Its main power seems to be the ability to travel between and from shadows, but a theory argues that this shadowy power is in fact granted to it with a Requiem arrow. You might be wondering, well, let's think about a scene in an earlier episode where the fat guy seemingly morphed into strange shapes and created the illusion that he was eating his own fingers. Maybe Black Sabbath's original ability was creating lifelike illusions that helped the fat guy confuse any potential enemies he might have made. with him having strong desires and being in possession of a stand arrow often. It's not far-fetched to say that Black Sabbath was pierced by the arrow again at some point and gained a new ability. This theory sounds plausible on paper, but I can't help but wonder why the fat guy didn't catch on to his stand having a new ability. Did he just assume it could do that the whole time? I'll give this theory 2 stars. Jotaro's a Pillarman. Has anyone noticed how some Jojo characters are abnormally tolerant to pain? I mean, they can have fingers disintegrated or be shot several times and only really let out a small grunt or mildly discomforting noises. This can be said for Jotaro, who has experienced the most damage in the series. For example, when he had a matter-destroying piece of sludge on his hand, he didn't really look all that in pain. Sure, you can say Jotaro's just a tough guy who doesn't show a lot of emotion, but what if there's a deeper reason? What if Jotaro's actually a Pillarman, or at least has some sort of Pillarman genes? This would explain his tolerance to pain and his abnormal strength, even as a child. You might be wondering how this is possible. Well, there was an instance in the past where CZQ had her body taken over by ACDC, and although he was eventually dispelled, it's not far-fetched to say that he had residual DNA or something like that stayed within CZQ, which would then be passed down to the Joestar family tree. This sounds like a pretty cool theory. It would have been a great way to continue the legacy of the Pillarman. But besides that, obviously this theory doesn't have any solid basis. I give this theory 1 star. DIAVOLO Backrooms. So it's pretty clear that Gold Explains REQUIEM's ability to send individuals into a death loop actually exists within another reality or pocket dimension. First of all, some individuals within it somehow can't hear DIAVOLO talking to them. Others completely ignore him. He can't summon his stand, and the environments seem kinda strange. If these are in fact artificially created worlds, then it's likely that DIAVOLO would attempt to escape, therefore breaking the code of this reality and causing him to no-clip out of bounds. Now we all know what happens when one no-clips out of reality. They end up in the backrooms. The backrooms are a surreal space of infinite rooms and hallways with moist carpets, loud fluorescent lights, and dirty yellow walls. Since this space exists outside of reality, it's not far-fetched to say that DIAVOLO would find himself in the backrooms by accident. Here, he may finally be free from the death loop, but there are now much more terrifying things to deal with. This is by far the best theory on this entire list so far. Good job to whatever his name is again. This theory gets 1 star. DIAVOLO is King Crimson. This is actually a theory I cooked up myself. Basically, what if DIAVOLO isn't a separate personality, but King Crimson itself, which has gained sentience? It would make sense why I can take control of Doppio's body, since the stand is an extension of a user's soul, which would give the stand an outlet to override the body. We've seen plenty of examples of stands who have a mind of their own. Now, what's the evidence? Well, I honestly don't really have any, other than the weird depictions of DIAVOLO talking through King Crimson, which is a little strange because we haven't seen anything like this in the series since. Almost like King Crimson is DIAVOLO's true form. As for why DIAVOLO acts as if the stand is a separate entity, well, maybe he isn't aware he's the stand, or he likes talking in the third person. Okay, this theory kinda sucks. I'll give it 1 star. All stands are sentient. Now this is an extension of the last theory, but what if all stands are sentient, but choose not to say anything? There are several examples of intelligent stands throughout the series, and at times the stand users refer to their stands as separate entities despite them being an extension of themselves. Gold Explains REQUIEM in particular is the main supporting aspect of this theory. Despite being fully capable of speaking, it chooses to stay silent and stares blankly at nothing. Which makes me think, what if all stands are like this, and the seemingly intelligent ones are just a few who decide to actually do something? Although this is another one of my theories, I don't think it's far-fetched. I give this 2 stars. The Pillarmen are aliens. The Pillarmen are supernatural beings who are far superior to humans in every way, and possess almost supernatural abilities. They also have a strange weakness to sunlight. They seem almost too surreal to be a species born on planet Earth. So what if the Pillarmen are actually aliens from another planet, who somehow made their way to Earth? Maybe they're humans that were infected by some sort of alien parasite, which unlocked their strange abilities, similar to the asteroid stand arrows came from. An extension of this theory is that what if MIKITAKA himself is actually a Pillarman that survived Car's massacre, and somehow knows the true secrets to the Pillarman's origins. If this theory holds true, it would explain 2 aspects of his character. His ability to transform without a stand would mean that he's an ultimate life form, similar to Car's, and his supposed inability to see stands could be explained with the Pillarman angle. Although the first half of this theory doesn't have any solid evidence, it's not far-fetched to say that Pillarmen have some sort of ties to the cosmos. 2 stars. The second part doesn't hold any water. 1 star. Anyways, there's several other Jojo fan theories out there, so maybe I'll make a part 2. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out my other stuff.